Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk Tech with Data Dave. I am Alexis, your host of this podcast, and I am excited to be back at Talk Tech with Data Dave with none other than Data Dave. Dave, how are you today?
I'm very well, Alexis. Great to be back. Sorry we've been remiss in getting together. It's been a long time. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been. We had to take a little podcast break, a little hiatus, if you will. Man, there was just like a lot of stuff going on. The podcast was kind of doing its work, and you and I ended up with a lot of work we had to get done there at the end of the year. So we took a little podcasting break to, frankly, like I said during the summer, quite a bit, do our real jobs. But I'm excited to be back behind the microphone because we still have a lot of questions to get answered. Talk Tech with Data Dave is proudly brought to you by D3 Clarity, your partner in AI, data, and cloud innovation. At D3 Clarity, we offer industry-leading solutions designed to transform your business and drive lasting success. From tailored consulting services to cutting-edge technology strategies, we're here to take your operations to the next level. Ready to unlock your tech potential? Learn more at d3clarity.com. The question today, we might as well jump right into it, is a question right up your alley, I'm sure, because, well, frankly, the word data is in the question a lot. So I'm just going to lay it out there and good luck. Data lakes versus data warehouses.
Yes.
What's the difference? I know I've used them interchangeably, so I'm quite interested in knowing the difference between the two.
Okay. These terms have got a little bit muddied in recent years. A data warehouse traditionally is a structured analytic database used for analytic type queries, as opposed to OLTP type queries. OLTP is online transaction processing.
There we go. You knew I was going to ask.
This is your normal application structure, which is inserts, updates, deletes, classic data kind of stuff, placing orders, adding customers, that sort of thing. A data warehouse is an optimized database for doing things like analytics, to doing financial analytics. Show me all my sales rolled up by customer unit or product unit or whatever. So it's a different style of query, different style of report. So when you create an order, you go through a process of this person has placed this order and I know all the details first. I know who the customer is. I know what order they're placing. I know what products there are. Everything's pretty structured in that way. From a data warehousing perspective, you're looking at analytic type queries that says, I don't know any of that information. I'm starting from the bottom. I'm starting with, I want to see the total value of all the orders per customer in this quarter. That's a different kind of request.
It's a different kind of request from what?
From the user. So a normal database is saying, I want to create this order. But the structure is often very slow to say, okay, I've got all these orders. Now which customers placed them? Mm-hmm. It's a reverse structure. So a data warehouse is often restructured to support analytic type queries. It's very structured and put together to support these kind of analytic type queries.
So for the layman out there who's trying to remember what a data warehouse is versus a database versus a data lake, easy thing to remember is a warehouse is a building, and a building is very structured, i.e. a data warehouse is very structured.
A data warehouse is very structured, and it is different from a database in the way that you access things.
Okay.
The idea is, in a classic application database, I'm creating data. In a warehouse, I'm not necessarily creating data, I'm reading data. Mm-hmm. So I'm fetching the right data, the right answer to my question very quickly.
Because of the way it's structured.
Exactly.
Got it.
If you think about a distribution center for a minute for retail, I create my products in one way, and then I put them in a distribution center. When I'm coming to get them, I want to find them very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. They might take longer to put in, but I want to get them out really quickly.
Right.
The normal application is optimized for creating data to transact with, and then my data warehouse structure is optimized for retrieving the answer to questions. Mm-hmm. So I've restructured the data, still very structured, into create it quickly, read it quickly.
Got it. Got it.
So often your data warehouse is an optimized system. So when you talk about a data warehouse system, like a Redshift or a Snowflake, they are optimized for that read processing versus a traditional database, which is optimized for read and write. And then you can do data warehousing in a traditional database. You just structure the data a little bit different. You structure the way you lay out the data a little different to help the query engine find it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So your data warehouse, you can build a data warehouse in a regular database, but you structure the data a little differently, and then you optimize for read versus for write.
So that's a warehouse. I follow you there.
Right. A data lake is a more modern term to a certain extent, and it has less structure to it. So typically, a data lake is a dumping ground. If you're dealing with unstructured data, we're collecting it all together in our lake, but we don't necessarily know the purpose. We don't necessarily have as much structure on it. The other thing about a warehouse is you will create the structure of a warehouse first, and then you will populate that warehouse. The questions that you can answer are defined by the structure of the warehouse. So you have the questions that you answer, things like, I want to do my annual financial reporting. Okay, that's a standard set of questions, standard set of reports to be generated. I can build a data warehouse to support those questions. And then I can populate that warehouse with the data from my transactional systems.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can answer my financial reporting needs very quickly when I need to by querying my data warehouse.
Right.
What were all my transactions? What were all my orders? What's our total book of business at the end of January? Whatever it might be. I can answer that question very quickly. A data lake is less structured. Where am I going to put all my data so that I can answer some questions that I don't know yet?
Okay. Before you go on, I want to hop back to something you said early when we were talking about data lakes. You said it's a place you often put unstructured data.
Right.
Now, I might be completely off about this, so I want you to correct me. I have always put like images in videos and like audio files in unstructured data
Yeah, absolutely.
categories.
Absolutely.
Is that what unstructured data is?
Well, yes and no. Yes, that is unstructured data. That is absolutely unstructured data. But data without defined structure is also unstructured data. A bunch of spreadsheets that have no defined structure. Yes, they've got structure in and of themselves, but it's not necessarily highly structured data.
As in, it doesn't have a larger governance protocol sitting over it telling it what to do.
Exactly. This isn't a sales ledger. This isn't a one of these, right? A data warehouse often depends on the structure of saying this is a sales ledger or a whatever, whereas unstructured data doesn't have that overarching structure. So we're being a little bit loose with some of the terms, which is video and audio and all that is unstructured data. Absolutely. So are documents, Word documents, so are spreadsheets. All this stuff is unstructured or semi-structured data.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got structured data, which is your transactional systems and your data warehousing.
Yes. Okay.
All of this can go in your data lake
Because it's fluid.
because your data lake has no structure, doesn't need a structure to function. Some of the big definitions that I often use are things like with a data warehouse and a database, structure comes first. With a data lake, structure comes second, and it's late binding structure. So we take the data and then we layer the structure on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Which sounds like a hot mess to me.
It is a hot mess.
Okay. Okay.
But
Just wanted to put that out there.
it's really a way of wrangling the hot mess. Often you say, I'm going to put all my data here in my data lake, and then I'm going to read it. Well, how am I going to read it? I can only read it if I put structure on it.
Right.
So this spreadsheet that is semi-structured contains a chart of accounts. Chart of accounts is very structured. So somebody has manipulated this spreadsheet, used the chart of accounts, created a spreadsheet, and I've got a semi-structured spreadsheet that says something.
Because part of it that's the chart of accounts is very structured, but the rest of it really isn't.
The rest of it really isn't.
Okay.
It's kind of what somebody did with it. And they might have massaged and changed the chart of accounts or whatever they did. They do what they need to do. When I put that into my lake, that's fine. When I read that from an external point of view, I probably want to overlay the chart of accounts on top of it. So I want to put that through some processing to extract the chart of accounts piece and use the true defined chart of accounts data. That's what we call late binding. I'm taking the spreadsheet and I'm reading it through the lens of the chart of accounts.
Yeah.
That gives me the ability to read that spreadsheet as structured data through that chart of accounts. So I'm late binding the structure to the data. If I was putting that in a warehouse, I'd have to build it rigidly to the chart of accounts so that I could load it into the chart of accounts warehouse. And I can't load it unless it conforms precisely to the chart of accounts. Whereas in a data lake, what I'm saying is I've got the data, I've put the data in a managed place, and I'm reading it through the lens of the chart of accounts.
No one saw you do air quotes when you said managed, but I want to tell everyone out there, Dave was like, in an air quotes, managed place.
Well, these data lakes aren't always as managed as they should be.
Right, as we said earlier, hot mess.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is that it's a centralized location. Often, it is data that is of interest to more than one person, and it is data that is being used probably for a purpose. Now, as it moves through the data lake, I actually define data lake bigger. So I will put areas of warehouses into my data lakes. So I'll have some very, very structured data and some semi-structured data in my data lake and use them in conjunction with each other. And that becomes part of the broader data lake environment. Does that make sense?
Did that make sense to you? Find out if it makes sense to me in our next episode of Talk Tech with Data Dave. We turned this episode into a two-part episode because Dave and I had such a wonderful conversation about data lakes versus data warehouses, and I wanted to make sure we had enough time to dive deep into this concept. So join us in our next episode of Talk Tech with Data Dave so we can finish our conversation about the difference between data lakes and data warehouses, and to maybe even learn about what Dave calls a data pond. Till next time, thanks everyone. If you have a question for Data Dave, reach out to us at talktech@d3clarity.com. We'll be happy to answer your question in the podcast. Thanks. Talk Tech with Data Dave is proudly brought to you by D3 Clarity, your partner in AI, data, and cloud innovation. At D3 Clarity, we offer industry-leading solutions designed to transform your business and drive lasting success. From tailored consulting services to cutting-edge technology strategies, we're here to take your operations to the next level. Ready to unlock your tech potential? Learn more at d3clarity.com.